Hello and welcome to the Full Advisor Coaching Podcast. I'm your host, Kristen Herod. And today I am here with Dr. Derek Pollard. He's the founder at Constellar Creative. And if you're not familiar, it's where FinServ's biggest marketing agencies and leading advisors come for copywriting and strategy. Personally, I just like to see what Derek's posting out on LinkedIn because he always has something to share. Thanks, Derek, for joining me today.
Oh, thanks for the invitation. I've been looking forward to this since we had our pre-episode conversation. So,
yes,
again.
Me too. We had to actually center the conversation because we had so much to cover. We were like, okay, we need to dial this in, and so we are going to spend a lot of time talking about LinkedIn. That is how I met you, or how I first became aware of you. Is just seeing your content out on LinkedIn and being like, wow, okay, I want to learn from him. This is amazing. And also, I want to, address what you and I have both seen around advisor content and how they're sharing. And, people get frustrated. Advisors get frustrated out there with, is it even worth it? Should I spend my time here? So I want us to be practical here and really get into LinkedIn strategy, and then also touch on, of course, how to use AI, because everyone's like, well, I can just use AI to do that, can't I? Well, yeah, maybe. Yeah. How do we use that to support us? But before we get into that, for advisors who don't know you or listeners who haven't met you, give us just a little bit about your background and what you do and how you help.
Well, as you had said, we're squarely centered in financial services in terms of helping advisors with their marketing. So that runs the gamut from implementation to strategy to finding ways. And I really appreciate how you frame this of using AI as an assistive tool. So a lot of the content that we're creating, particularly on the strategy side of things, is really tailored to partnering with AI. So no longer are you just getting, say, an ideal client profile. You're getting content that you can then plug into the AI tools that you're using that will allow you to either create an agent or build a project. So we're being very mindful about that. Now, for those of you who do know me, that's quite a leap because you know me as an AI skeptic. So we're going to get into that too today. But I appreciate the way you frame that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am curious, what is the PhD in?
Yeah, this is what's interesting. So I've spent the majority of my career in academia and editing and publishing. PhD is actually in poetry and poetics.
Yes, that's what I thought. You were a poet, so I was like,
specifically
that's right.
Poetry of the avant-garde, poetry and art of the avant-garde. So the most interesting thing is that those conversations have relevance to all of the work that I wind up doing with advisors, particularly when it comes to social media, because I've spent the past, not going to mention how many decades, writing not in sentences but in lines and taking advantage of what poets like Charles Olson referred to as the field of the page. So we're not just talking about copywriting, we're talking about writing as a form of design. And that's a real advantage when it comes to social media.
I love this conversation already. Hey there, it's Kristen. Quick break. If you're enjoying the show and you want more, head on over to fulladvisorcoaching.com/resources. You can download the toolkits that I have there and join the free insider community. You'll be the first to hear about new trainings, fresh podcast episodes, and I share with you real-world strategies that I see working for advisors right now. That's fulladvisorcoaching.com/resources. Go sign up. It's completely free. And now, back to the show. I love words and learning about words. And even when I was looking up your agency or your firm, and I was looking at your name Constellar and was thinking about constellation and making the connections, I was like, I've always loved words, namings, meanings. tone, direction. So there's a lot we'll get into today. All right, so let's get into what kind of prompted me to reach out to you originally, aside from encouragement from previous guests on my podcast, like Ben Lewis, who said, "You need to speak with Derek." Okay, I will speak with Derek.
I love Ben. He's
know
doing phenomenal work. Phenomenal.
the work he does for the FBA is incredible. So
Yeah.
I'll do a callback if you didn't hear that episode, and we'll put the link in the show notes. Ben and Dennis Moore, the now CEO of the FPA, talk a lot about how you can really get the most out of the membership there, which they've just really done an amazing job there. Okay, we digress. Let's get back into it. All right, so I love LinkedIn. I'm out there all the time. I've connected with many advisors. It's a lot of fun for me to be out and communicate and share. And the frustrating thing is I used to be able to get thousands of impressions on posts. And then now what happened? It dropped way down. And you had put an interesting post out that really intrigued me about things that have changed in what you've noticed in the algorithm and what's changed about getting traction. So what have you seen?
Yeah. You've said a number of important things here. The first is being on LinkedIn and using it strategically. You know, I use it synonymously for social media because it's where I also live, which makes perfect sense. I'm in advisor marketing. So LinkedIn is where my clients live, which is why I want to be on that particular channel as much as I am. You're not going to see me on the Meta channels. That's a whole other episode.
Yeah, I was like, for more than one reason, but that's okay.
Yes, for more than one. Same with X. I was part of the exodus that moved over to Blue Sky.
Okay.
I've segmented my social media profile. So if you're over on Blue Sky, that's where you're going to see all of my work in editing and publishing and writing. I wanted to make sure that those lines weren't muddied, although, again, as I say, all of that work comes into play when I'm working with advisors. But LinkedIn for you and for me is the perfect channel because it's where our clients are. And that's really what I think we're touching on here is identifying where you want to be is a really big part of adjusting or developing your particular strategy. What works for me isn't necessarily going to work for you on a one-to-one basis. So we really want to do a lot of listening before we take action to figure out what the best channels are. It could be if you are an advisor, your clientele is on Facebook. And that's a very different channel and a different approach. So we need to do some fine tuning there, even though you still want to be showing up on LinkedIn. In terms of the question you've asked, I mean, it's not just advisors who are frustrated. It's everyone who's on LinkedIn.
I know it.
Because they're moving the goalposts on us on what seems like a nanosecond by nanosecond basis. So it's a frustration that's shared by all of us, including those of us who have our fingers on the pulse. The short answer is we don't know. Because LinkedIn doesn't share that proprietary information. And even some of the people that I follow closely, Richard Vanderblank comes to mind immediately. The work he's doing in terms of tracking the updates to the LinkedIn algorithm are outstanding. Follow him if you're not.
Yeah.
But I mean, even Richard and his team aren't sitting in on those meetings. And so we're doing a lot of retrofitting and we're using the analytics to the degree that we can, but a lot of it's still guesswork. And so I'm hoping one of the things that we're able to do today is help mitigate that frustration because it is worthwhile to be on social, whatever channel or channels you're on. It's a big part of marketing. You want to be showing up there. But to your point, you may have regularly be getting 1,200, 2,500 unique impressions on posts even 6 months ago, 8 months ago, last week. That precipitous drop can really be demoralizing, and it can feel like all of the hard work that you have put in is gone for naught. That's not the case. And one of the things that you and I were talking about before we went live today was the importance of understanding where your content is showing up and making sure that you are curating your network to the degree that you can, and your content is getting in front of the right people. That's what counts. And maybe it's helpful for us to step back for just a moment. And I mean, this is quite a moment. I'm going to take you back 30 years here. So we're going to get into the TARDIS
I'm ready.
for a moment.
Yep.
30 years ago, if I had said to you, hey, every day I can get you in front of 150 to 200 people, and they're not always going to be the same people, you would have followed me anywhere, right?
Yeah, that is so true.
Yeah, tremendous door opening. So one of the things is I'd like us to reframe this notion of viral content and its impact and importance. And the other thing is, too, don't discount the fact that you're reaching the people you are. Even a post that has minimal boost or reach, right? Even if you are only getting in front of 200 people with a given post, think about that. That's 200 people. And if you're really doing it right, that's a lot of people who might do business with you, right?
I would say it's 200 of the right people, and it's far more about being in front of the right people than the most people.
You got it. That's absolutely true. Absolutely true. In fact, this is totally counterintuitive, but those viral posts actually can wind up doing harm. They're going to muddy your feed. You're not going to wind up seeing content from people you've carefully curated and have relationships with. You're going to suddenly be everywhere. And I can guarantee you that's not how you've set your business up. Right. It's not to be everywhere.
Yes. And that is so interesting because it is hard to, with the whole, look inside the data and being able to be like, how did that post get more than the other? And you don't think about just in our industry, as I always say, we're not selling shoes, right? Like you don't need to hit thousands of people to get 1, 2, 3 clients where they're paying you tens of thousands of dollars for years on end, depending on how you charge and what you do. It's like we're looking, and we're for our clients, they're marketing a service that has a whole different set than marketing a product, right? And then a service, and it's not one that people, like, as I always say, wake up and go, today I'm shopping for a financial plan. That's what I'm doing today. I'm going to get online and see which video really resonates, So it's done over time.
We can't stress that enough. This is one of the reasons I love marketing in financial services.
That's why I do it too.
So many of the conversations that we have on the marketing side mirror the conversations that advisors are having with their clients, right?
Right.
I can't imagine there's any advisor who's tuning in and isn't thinking, I find myself saying it's a long-term strategy a lot too, right?
Yes.
Which is exactly what a successful marketing strategy is. It's a long-term strategy. Yes, the tactics shift and adjust, but to your point, Kristen, and that's such an important one, you are earning the trust, the respect, and you are demonstrating your credibility over time. That's really what we mean by showing up consistently on social. When you're doing podcasts, when you're on webinars, showing up consistently and authentically, that's the differentiator going forward, particularly as we move further and further into the era of AI. So that's another really important point for advisors.
Yes, absolutely. So I think it's less, point taken. It's stressful that if you're putting content regularly out, and we can say LinkedIn because, I know that for me, I market on LinkedIn because again, it's a great B2B channel.
Yes, it is.
It's great when you're a professional service person looking out there. It can also, I think, every advisor, would behoove them to have a solid profile and make sure their LinkedIn profile is set up, because even if your audience isn't on LinkedIn, people go to check you out. Like when they hear about you, they go, let me make sure they're legitimate. Okay, I'm going to look at them on LinkedIn. And that's where you can also see the history of what have you posted, what's it about. And so it's another chance for people to take a look where it may not have been in their official feed, but they can look and see and be like, what does this person talk about? Does that resonate with me or not?
Well, and increasingly too, your social media content is showing up in search engine result pages, and that's particularly true with AI search. So these are important considerations. It's not. We have seemingly overnight gone from a point at which having a well-constructed profile isn't enough, right? It is important. It's vital.
Right. It's like table stakes. It's like, okay, good.
But
I sure hope you're there. Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
totally. And to your point, because it's showing up when people look, right? When people look for financial advisors, your social media content is showing up, your profile is showing up, and it's going to show up higher in those search results if it's been optimized for answer engine optimization. And so that's another consideration. We've really kind of already moved out of the realm of SEO, search engine optimization. And so those little tweaks to your LinkedIn profile, your Facebook profile, those are important steps to take. And those are things that you want to be thinking about if you haven't already gone in and updated your about section or updated your headline. So things to be thinking about too.
Oh, interesting. Now we're going to take a turn from where I originally thought we might go on this, but because I know that this AEO or answer engine optimization, essentially AI search, right? When they're producing results. Tell us, what are you seeing that they're looking for? I know the question format is popular, but what is it that when you say, go in and update your about, what is it that you're recommending people do?
Exactly what you've just said is the best place to start, is thinking about your content in the form of questions and answers. And not only that, but being strategic. And this is where doing the research up front really is to your advantage. What are your ideal clients actually searching? What are the words that they're, and not just the keywords, but actually what they're typing in, right?
Right.
And then ideally your answers, one, provide a really quick digest at the start. So you get maybe a couple of sentences that provide a brief summary, and then you go into more detail with that answer. So that's one of the things that you can be doing. The other thing too is, again, make sure that you're actually using the terms that are being searched. So you want to constantly be doing what's called social listening, right? And get a sense of what people are really typing in, and making sure that, again, you're aligning your content. This is such murky territory because on the one hand, it sounds like I'm advocating for you to play dress up, which is what a lot of people think that marketing is because of all of the bad actors that have been doing it for so long.
I know.
What I'm really saying is just really put your ear to the ground and listen carefully and closely. What are the questions? What are the concerns? What are the fears, anxieties, and aspirations that the people you know you can help are expressing on their own social media profiles when they're doing searches online? And then tailor your content so that you, this brilliant person behind all of the financial expertise really shows through and shows up when they're using AI search.
Right. And so you talk about social listening. Yeah. What do you mean by that? Is it looking at your clients' profiles? Like, what are you, how would I go about doing that? What a great question, and what a great opportunity for us to help more advisors really become strategic about this. Right.
That's exactly it. What are you doing when you're on social? This is one of the reasons that it gets so frustrating is we wind up getting drawn in, right? We talk particularly with a channel like Instagram, right? We talk about going down the rabbit hole all the time. Right?
Sure.
My mother and I have that conversation every time we talk.
I know.
She's going down the rabbit hole all the time. But if you're strategic on social, that's a very different experience, because what you're doing is you're actually going out and looking, as you say, at your ideal clients' profiles. What are they posting? What are they reposting? Where are they commenting, and what are they saying? The same goes for the people in your network. the thought leaders that you're interested in or are part of your network. The same goes for your competitors. What are people doing and saying on social that you have a unique perspective, a contrarian take, right? A different way of looking at, so that you can enter into those conversations in a constructive way. And this is no surprise because you're a brilliant host. We have circled back to one of the questions about what you can be doing on LinkedIn to mitigate that frustration. One of the things that's changed is the preference goes to engagement. So comments have become increasingly important. This is going to sound crazy to some of the people who are tuning in, but if you're posting 2 or 3 times a week on LinkedIn and you're filling in the rest of your time on social with substantive comments, not just, hey, that's great, congratulations.
Yeah, like not just the default congratulations, but
actually moving the conversation forward, you're going to find, one, you're going to see if you like or react, and forgive me if the numbers are a little off, but they're close here.
Yeah.
If you like or react a post by someone, you're 70% more likely to see their content in your feed. If you engage by leaving a comment, that bumps up to anywhere from 85 to 90%. So the next time they post, it's almost automatically going to show up in your notifications. This helps you curate your feed, but it also gets you in front of their audience if you're commenting, right? And so gives you an opportunity to demonstrate your unique value and your perspective and what an interesting person you are, right?
I know. And I think if you kind of think less about, I know a lot of advisors get frustrated by having to game the system and be like, how long do I have to be on and how often do I have to go on and do all this? But if you truly go into it with kind of an open look at how you can serve your clients, how you can share your knowledge, and how you can get to know the person for whom, like, wow, that was such an interesting post you had, Derek.
Yeah.
I have questions for you. What else are you seeing? I'm seeing this. Like, I can't tell you the number of people, not to mention new business, but that came out of just me dialoguing with people on LinkedIn or, pick your platform of choice.
Yeah.
And you have conversation and you dialogue and you're like, oh, I know you from our back and forth on LinkedIn. Yes. And so I do think it used to be that you would just hit the like, which I do sometimes, but like,
me too.
And I'm hoping when I hit like, I mean, I genuinely mean, oh, I like this.
Me too.
I don't really have anything else to say, but I like it. And I think to myself, I wouldn't mind seeing more from this person. Hence the like. Yeah. Or I'm supporting someone. But I think the engagement, the comment engagement, I can see why. I see both sides of why that's frustrating to advise because they're already like, I don't have time as it is to be out on LinkedIn.
Right.
And now you want me to go in and think through a comment that I have to say. So then they may say, should I use AI to come up with that comment? What should I do? So what about that? Like, well, let's bridge over. I know. Let's use our brains. I think you and I talked about this in our pre-conversation too, just how it's so important that we continue to engage and write and create from our own knowledge. And as easy as it is to put something in AI and have it just turn something out that you cut and paste, you can almost feel the brain cells, going to sleep.
You're absolutely right.
And there's research behind that. But I'm saying, I was going to say, I need to be able to find a study to quote on that, but you may have one. But I know that there is research that the more we hand that task off, the less able we are to originate or create original thought on that.
Well,
which is terrifying to me.
Well, it is, and it should be. I mean, we're handing over our humanity at that point. One of the things that I was doing at the tail end of my full-time teaching career was doing a lot of this research, and I came across a study a number of years ago that demonstrated the exponential increase in memory capacity, our ability to remember things and make connections based on weather we were taking notes by hand or using
yes.
a device, a mobile phone,
Right.
an iPad, whatever it may be, typing as opposed to writing leads to a decrease in how much you remember and what you're able to put together from what you have just read. So imagine that exponentially increased or decreased with the use of AI. The other thing is this. You talked about those credibility signals earlier. And this is one of the things that we're very strategic about when we work with advisors and with firms. Every single interaction, this isn't to panic anyone, so don't worry, right? Yeah. But every single interaction is a marketing opportunity for you. And you are essentially an ambassador for your firm. Every single thing that you do and say. Again, that's not to put undue pressure on you. It's just think of the opportunity there when you have something like a LinkedIn profile that you're able to utilize, or your website, if you're doing maybe a vlog, you're doing video, you're doing interactive content. You have the opportunity to forge relationships with people who don't yet know you, trust you, and like you. So that by the time they do pick up the phone, and this is another point you had made, it's not a discovery call in a traditional sense. You've already done all of that work in advance. They're calling you to hire you, not to figure
They're
out
just
how
doing,
you do what you do.
They're essentially wanting to know, if you haven't yet told them, what does it cost and how do we start?
That's it.
Like that's ultimately if you've done your work ahead of time.
Exactly. And that's, with all of the analytics we have available, that's the one thing. That's the metric you want to focus on the most. And if you're not already capturing that information, I want to encourage you to build that into your systems. When anyone reaches out to you, make sure that you know how they found you. Was it, like you say, Kristen, and I love the example here. Was it 6 months or 2 years worth of following you on LinkedIn to get a sense of where you're coming from and some periodic visits to your website? The more of that information you know, the more you can fine-tune your marketing strategy and the more efficient you can be in terms of delivering for your clients and maximizing your ROI on your market spend. So that's something to consider too, is how are people getting to you? And as we said before, that can be a slow drip. So you have to prepare for that, right? And don't be discouraged. Don't pull the plug right as you're about to finally,
I know that's the hardest part. That's the long tail, right? On anything you're doing. And one thing I do, very tactical thing here is like when people have their Calendly scheduling and they have, the questions or ask people, I always want them to ask, how did you hear about us? And hopefully, I've had clients who go, oh, this one's good. They told me I typed into Google, So I don't know. I haven't thought about it yet, but now I'm thinking like, is there a way to say, hey, if you used a search engine, what did you type? But that might just be a conversation you have with someone and they may go, oh, I don't know. It was advisor near me or something.
Right. Which I have to say, I haven't yet myself found the time, but there's a Thai restaurant here in Manhattan its business name is Thai Near Me.
Oh, fun.
Which is
great.
Absolutely brilliant because guess what's showing up top
I love
of every search engine result, right? Thai Near Me.
Oh, that sounds
brilliant?
Great. Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah.
All right. So I do want to clarify for listeners, I use AI all the time.
So do I.
I mean, it's phenomenal. It is incredible. It's a great way to have conversation, to get ideas, especially if you're on your own, you're like, here's my target audience. Here's what I know that worries them. I'm trying to think of a new angle on how I can talk about retirement planning, and you can go back and forth and have ideas. How do you encourage the use of AI with your clients, or where do you use it in your process?
Oh, like everyone else at this point, right? Let's just be real. We're all using it. And there's no shame in that. Yeah. However, to your point, it's incredibly important to use it responsibly and to think about all of the aspects of AI use that don't get talked about enough, right? Mm-hmm. Environmental impacts, energy use, right? I mean, we're reaching a point in this economy where the construction and development of AI data centers is going to be driving this economy. They're popping up
Right.
everywhere because they need to,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And we're also at a point where Microsoft brokered a deal with the energy company in control of 3 Mile Island. So, hey, everybody, we're going nuclear again, right?
Oh, and I just, little side note, I grew up 10 miles from
Oh, goodness.
3 Mile Island. And when we had the big meltdown scare in the 70s, we had, I got to leave school and evacuate, being like, oh, we're having a meltdown. Luckily, it was contained. Nothing, nothing happened. But it was, I see 3 Mile Island every time I fly in to go visit my mom.
Yeah.
I see the towers. But anyway, side note, I'm like, oh, wow. And I did not know that about the deal, though I had heard that it was potentially
Yes.
going back up.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're reopening another facility in southwestern Michigan as well.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right.
yeah.
So we do have the environmental impact. We have the economic impact, which will be, we're building and developing, and there are different ways. So all of these things, we're all experiencing the ease to which we can, get questions answered, or have a review of a copy, or dump in a bunch of data and get a summary from it, which is fantastic. You're like, oh, it's amazing. Yeah. So all of those things. So let's just get down to content and looking at how you create content, and then what's helping or hurting when it comes to creating content with AI. I know you and I both can try to sleuth out who's using AI without.
Oh, I can
edit.
tell at a glance, literally
Yes.
at a glance. And here's the thing, advisors, so can your prospects, whether they're conscious of it or not. And again, this is one of the things that all of my training and experience as a poet gives me. I can see it at a glance because, again, it's not just words. It's not what you're saying. It's the design. It's the format. It's how it appears. So you could literally bring up your LinkedIn feed and I would be able to point to the people who are using. The same goes for comments, right? So this is one of the ways that you want to be careful. And if we talk about standing out in a sea of sameness, one of the things that you can do, and again, it's hard, Kristen, because you pinpointed the big issue. It's a time commitment.
It's time. Yeah.
It takes time to think. Right?
Right,
Even if
it
you're
does,
really good at it and you do it on your feet all the time, it takes time to do. That investment in time is going to yield more results than all of the content and all of the quote unquote efficiencies that AI gives you. If you are just using a tool, plugging in that information that you said, and that's great information to have. Like I said, it's one of the things that Constellar is helping advisors with, building out those ideal client profiles, building out messaging frameworks that they can then use with assistive AI, right? To provide them those frameworks and that deeper understanding of what the communication should look and sound like. However, if you're just using a tool, and there are any number of them out there, where you just plug in that information and it spits out a post, and then it either posts it for you, or you're able to use your schedule, or you post manually, you're doing more harm than good to yourself, your firm, and your business going forward. And so that's a real cautionary tale that I want to share with everyone. The other part of it, and I know we may wind up touching upon this too, what are some of the safeguards that you can ensure you're taking? Make sure that if you're using Claude, for instance, you have projects set as private, so they're not showing up within Claude's network. If you're using, say, Galaxy AI or Magi, which I think is the future of all of this, unless Jeff Musk winds up saying no and putting the kibosh on this. These are tools that give you access to multiple different AI systems. And so if you have a subscription to Galaxy or you have a subscription to Magi, you can start a chat in Claude using Opus 4.1, get to a point where you're like, this research doesn't sound accurate. Switch over to Gemini, get your information accurate, verify the sources, and then you can move over to chat if you want to have your agent pull in and do some fine tuning for you. but make sure all of that is private, and make sure that the content you're creating is protected to the degree that you can protect it. So a couple of months ago, I was doing some vibe coding. So this is one of the ways that I'm exploring
Yes.
AI.
Okay.
I'm not a coder, never have been, have always
Yeah.
envied that skill set. But I wanted to, because the Constellar Creative site is hosted by Squarespace, I wanted to see what adjustments they had made. One of the really nice features now on Squarespace is you used to just have one toggle switch. You could either make your site available to AI crawlers or not, and that was it.
Oh, okay.
They've fine-tuned it now, and this is to your advantage. You actually can go in, hit the toggle on button so that crawlers can crawl your site and you can show up in AI search.
Oh,
while
wow.
protecting your site from it being used to train large language models. And so that's one of the things you want to be thinking about if you're in the process of refreshing or developing a new website, what protections are in place. And so I created a little snippet of code. I created, remind me, we'll put this in the show notes for people, but I have code for Wix and for Squarespace. And there's snippets of code you can include in the header that reinforce, hey, look, this is off limits for training data, but you're totally fine to boost this in terms of AI search. So that's
that's incredible.
Yeah, that's one of those protections. And then, like I said, in terms of your AI chatbots, read the fine print so you know what information you're making available. I know, Kristen, one of the conversations that we had was about Perplexity's Comet and how terrifying this discovery was for me. Like everyone else, I'm like, ooh, there's something here. I want to check this out. I want to do some exploring. I want to see it in action myself. I was I downloaded it. I was right on the cusp of starting to use it. And I thought to myself, because AI skeptic, I'm like, let me read the fine print. Let me just
Sure.
Here's what happens when you wind up using Perplexity's Comet browser. Every single interaction you have online is accessible and is completely visible within their system and is used for training. So advisors in our heavily regulated industry, please be aware. Even if you're accessing your client portal, even if you're on a secure site and you're using Perplexity, all that information is visible to them. So you're giving away all of your confidential information. It's really important to read the fine print as we go forward. So that you can use AI responsibly and, getting back to that credibility signal, show your prospects and your clients, I'm serious about this. I'm going to use AI systems that are protected and have been stress tested so that your information is not getting leaked out, and we're not going to have, as happened with Google several years ago, our private conversations showing up in public indexes.
Right. And I think with the speed at which everything's evolving and changing, even across the last year, and believe me, I am in San Francisco, and all I see are AI billboards, which means that's where the money's going, that's where everyone's investing, and that's all people talk about here. Is things are going to just keep moving and changing, and so staying on top of that and having someone on your team who can be informed and up to date and reading all that fine print, because it's cool and fun to try out the new tools and they're super helpful. And so it's good when we have someone who can ground us and go, yes, but just be careful. You're dealing with some very specific data, very personal data. And so we heed the warning for sure. And I understand that just at the high level, trying to use a paid version versus a free version is like a no-brainer on that. Like pay for it, yes, to protect. So I think that comes up just kind of as a baseline. Should I pay for it? Yes.
Well, and something else too that's really helpful and important for advisors. There are AI tools that are approved for financial services. So put that on your radar. And when you are looking for these assistive technologies, I want to draw a line under that point you made. When you're looking at you're doing your research and you're figuring out what direction to go in, particularly when you're working on advisory-based business, your client work, working in your business. You want to look for AI tools and systems that have gone through that vetting process so that those liabilities are not on you and your firm.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I know it seems to me so many advisors are using AI and they're getting out there, but if someone is new to it or they're nervous about it, like they too are skeptical and they're worried, where do you suggest that they start with using AI, or how can they get, they want to stay on top of it, they want to learn. Where do you suggest they start?
Oh, I think your suggestions were outstanding earlier. AI is incredible at the ideation phase. So when you're thinking to yourself, if you're creating your own content, I'm out of ideas, or I'd like a fresh angle on this. I feel like I've said it the same time 10 different appearances or posts. That's one of the places where it really is an incredible tool. Systems-based work in terms of integrating the work that you're doing. You do want to have an integrated marketing strategy. By that, I mean, you want to make sure that everything is communicating and you're directing traffic from social to your website. Again, don't worry about any ding you might take on a post where you push people over to your website, right?
Right.
The important thing is you're directing traffic and you're being intentional about that. You want to make sure all of this is connected to your email, whether you're sending out a newsletter or just updating clients and reaching out to prospects. So you want to make sure that all of this is working together. AI is a great way to sync up all of the systems that you're using. And it's just a great tool in terms of really kind of getting a check, I think, and that's one of the things that you can do. Hey, am I on the right track? Not just, here's my ideal client, does this speak to them?
Right.
So much of the work that we're doing at Constellar now has to do with continuity checks. So,
oh, interesting. Say more about that.
Yeah, when we're creating content or we're getting content for review from advisors and firms, we're running through a whole checklist of continuity issues in terms of brand voice, in terms of narrative arc, in terms of voice tone and style. So it's a wonderful way for you to create. Now, you want to make sure that the tool understands you're not interested in reflexive agreement. I'm really hoping that...
I hope that goes away soon.
I'm hoping you're absolutely right, never shows up in another reply.
I know. Wow, that's a phenomenal idea.
Yes, exactly.
Wow, that's a smart take.
But to your point, if you're able to instruct your agent or your project manager within your AI system to say, hey, look, I don't need glazing here. I need an objective opinion, and I need you to fill the shoes of X, Y, and Z. I need you to look at this from my ideal client's perspective. I need you to look at this from a compliance perspective. The thing is, you'll get an objective checklist. Now, my suggestion to you is run those continuity checks several times, because you're only going to get more granular and finer tuned information. You're going to get a much clearer idea, because the other issue is these tools are still hallucinating with great regularity. And so it's one of the things, the cut and paste approach is very, very dangerous for advisors, because research that seems totally legitimate, in-text citations and sources are cited properly. I can't tell you the number of times in running continuity checks like this, one of the first questions I ask is are these sources verified? I want you to show me where this comes from. I want you to point to this specific place in this article, in this transcript. I need to know that this is accurate. I can't tell you how often I'm getting reports back and doing quadruple checks, and I'm getting non-factual. It's all fabricated information. Right.
Yes, I get that also, where I get beautifully documented footnotes, and then I click on them and I was like, there's nothing there.
Yes. Yeah. You're getting a 404
or you're getting a different
message.
article, or you get a different article like, this isn't anything to do with that.
Yes,
and
exactly.
I'll do the same thing. It was like, show me show me the language where you pulled that. So I do think hopefully that gets better over time.
Well, and in the
sure.
meantime, it's one of the things advisors can be doing. Again,
Yeah.
neither one of us is saying turn your back on AI. It's here. It's already become an integral component of how we communicate, how we find information. But make sure that you are doing due diligence and that you are quadruple checking your information so that when it is going out and it's being published or you're citing it on a podcast or at a conference, it's accurate and you don't put yourself in jeopardy.
Right. That's great advice for sure. All right. So as advisors are thinking about what we talked about today and thinking about kind of one action they could take to improve how they're engaging on social, how they're thinking about their content, what would you recommend?
Be yourself.
That's good. I like that.
More than anything else, be yourself. This from every interaction you've had with clients, and listen to that language and use that language in your marketing, right? You have a storehouse of content available to you. It's one of the things that I encourage advisors and firms to do as part of their year-end review. Pull all of your client communication. What are the words that they're using? What are the phrases they're using? If you're able, are there testimonials there that you can use? Your clients are going to speak for you so much more eloquently and persuasively than you will ever be able to do, and that's going to signal even more trust. But being yourself is so important. So make the investment if it takes a little more time. And Kristen, you had said, we were talking earlier, if you're posting 2 or 3 times a week, right? And let's just say you've gotten really good and you're able to knock out a post in like 30 minutes, right? So that's 90 minutes in terms of content creation. Those are likely going to be posted on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Those are the days of highest activity on LinkedIn. Depending, generally between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. are the golden hours for posting. It always depends based on your audience. But the other part of it is if you've got 90 minutes up front of content creation, and let's just say over the course of 5 days, you divvy out another 60 to 90 minutes, right? An hour to an hour and a half, you are going to wind up seeing an exponential increase in the effectiveness of your social media marketing if you do that consistently over time. It's not a huge lift for anyone. A couple of hours a week max, right? And you're going to be able to start making some significant connections, gaining traction, and showing up where it counts.
I think that's what matters, is showing up where it counts, being yourself, and ultimately making space to be able to show up in that way, right? So carving out the time. And I think when you go into social media with a focus and an objective, you avoid going down that rabbit hole because you know what you need to get done. Yeah. And I think it becomes, you're going to spend the time on there anyway, somehow, because you're going to look and then be lost. So know what you're there to do. And then we take it from there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Derek, I'm taking up so much time, but we could just keep going. First of all, how can advisors get in touch with you? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Well, surprise, surprise. Send me a DM on LinkedIn.
Oh, there you go.
I'll be there.
Yes.
I live there. Again, I'm there for clients all the time. I'm there myself. So it is where I spend a good deal of time myself. If you don't want to, it's one of the things I can help take off your plate. The Constellar Creative website, constellarcreative.com. You can book time with me there. You can always give me a call as well. All of that contact information is both on LinkedIn and on the website. Whatever you're most comfortable with, but I'd love to hear from you. And if there's anything I can do to help, please feel free to reach out.
Great. And I understand you're offering a 20-minute marketing makeover for people who act quickly off of the original publish date. So this is not forever if you're a late listener, but you're tuning in and you're hearing this. Tell us about that offer.
Yeah, we're going to run it for 60 days after the air date of this episode. There is on the Constellar Creative website, on the contact page, a specific calendar It'll give you free access to a 20-minute marketing makeover. So we'll tackle one specific issue. Maybe it's your LinkedIn headline, or maybe you want some help fine-tuning an email that you're about to send, or you've got some questions about sequencing an email. You're going to have 20 minutes. We're going to be able to sit down together in person, online, in real time, troubleshoot that issue. And it's also a great opportunity for both of us to get a sense of what it would be to work with one another before we actually work together. So
yeah, that's great value add.
Yeah, it's 20 minutes to solve a problem you're facing right now. And we'll run that for 60 days after the air date. And I always love those sessions. They're absolutely wonderful.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk about real-time research for you too in that way. Like really talk about knowing what's on the mind of your customer.
Yeah, it's a wonderful opportunity. And like I said, advisors walk away with some actionable steps they can implement immediately afterwards. So
that's perfect.
Yeah.
And we'll have that link in the show notes.
Cool.
So, and for anyone who is looking to connect with me, I too am also out on LinkedIn. You can see me there frequently. And you can message me there if you want to reach me, or go to the fulladvisorcoaching.com website. You can click the button in the upper right-hand corner that says request a call and schedule time to talk with me.
Yeah, website's
Thank
great,
you.
by the way.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm very pleased with my designer who helped me with that. So thank you. I appreciate that. So if you want to reach Derek, you want to reach me, you know how. We thank you very much for tuning in today, and I encourage you to go out and make it a great day. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Full Advisor Coaching, the podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please hit the follow button so you'll never miss an episode. To learn more about how you can become a part of the Full Advisor community, visit fulladvisorcoaching.com. Remember, stay connected and get notified as soon as brand new episodes release. Click the follow button now. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only. The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of Kristen Harrod or Full Advisor Coaching.